Tavin, we're gonna go to you next, my friend.
Phil, I'm so glad that you've chosen to come to me
Yeah.
because it's time, boys.
What's it time for?
It's time. As Phil alluded
Oh, he's gonna
to
he's gonna start talking about it.
earlier today, I don't remember if it was on this show or on the Shadow of the Colossus Game Club, or maybe it was just
It
in
was Game
between
Club. Yeah, yeah.
on the stream, maybe with twitch.tv/2pennygames. You can watch us record all of these live every Sunday.
Oh God.
But I have, over the last few weeks, been playing Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. Phil
That's my
lent me
copy.
he lent me his copy a few weeks ago,
Fucking smashes it.
and as you know, I'm not a Breath of the Wild fan at all. Some would even say I'm a Breath of the Wild hater. Hi,
It's true,
here I
you
am
are.
again, here to talk about another one of you guys' favorite fucking video games of all time. And boy, oh boy, I have put in a substantial amount of time into Tears of the Kingdom. I wanted to make sure I knew what I was talking about, so when I came on here, I didn't sound like a buffoon. I wanted to make sure that I was heavily educated in all of the new systems and mechanics, all of the old things that did not get updated for some bizarrely fucking strange reason. And I have put well over 40 hours into Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay.
And it's a great game. It's a really good game. It is so much fun. It is so exciting. It is so engaging in every single moment of the game. I'll say it this way. Very few of my issues from Breath of the Wild have been fixed or improved upon at all. The combat still sucks. And that's really my main thing. And I feel like my criticism of the combat got like diluted down to I just don't like weapon degradation, and I don't. Like, it still sucks. Like, I still hate that. But it does not feel good to swing a sword in this game at all. Never does. Never do I ever finish a combat scenario and I'm like, oh yeah, that was a good time. I'm always like, I really wish I didn't have to do that. Every single time. But I would say the main thing. Also, I thought the puzzles were bitch baby easy, like just totally brain dead puzzles in the first game. Not fun at all, super boring. And really, my big thing about Breath of the Wild is that I kept waiting for the game to come to me, for the game to get fun, and it never really does, in my opinion. It tells you what the game is in the first hour, and that's a 40-hour, 50-hour experience of Breath of the Wild. And I just don't think that's very fun, where it's just explore this world and use your mechanics to navigate the game world, is basically what this is. The main thing and the big difference as to why I think this game is actually superior to the last one, and I think it's actually worthy of some of the praise that it's gotten. I still think it's overblown. Like, this is not a 10 out of 10 video game at all. But it's not. But it's a really good game and a really fun game. And the main reason is why is because with the new tools and abilities they've given you, specifically Ultra Hand, Fuse, and Rewind Time and Ascend, which are the main ones, but all four of those together like create such a great package. Those tools and abilities allow, instead of me navigating a world, it allows me to engage with the world. And now I can actually feel like I'm putting forward creative solutions to get to where I need to be, or do what I need to do in order to actually feel the breadth of its open world. Whereas in the last one, it's tools which I sometimes kind of miss some of them. I don't miss the bombs. I don't give a fuck about the bombs. But I do miss things like the freeze the water to create a platform, because sometimes I just need to be a little bit higher to use Ascend or something. But like, Ascend totally like fixes my complaint about the climbing. The climbing is still too slow. It takes too long and it's too annoying to get up a mountain. Like, it's just annoying and I hate it. But Ascend kind of fixes that problem in most scenarios, where I can find like a little bit of jut out cliff, or I can get into a cave, or there's a platform built above me or something that I can just shoot right up and get where I need to be. I don't feel lost in some of the more handcrafted experiences. In the last game, it was the beasts. In this game, it's the temples. I really like the design of the temples. They're a little too copy paste in what they're doing, where it's all just like, hey, just find the lock and just unlock it and do that 4, 5, 6 times or whatever. And I'm like, all right, well, that's a little simple. But just being able to use ascend or the rewind time mechanic to navigate them and get through them and so forth makes it so much more engaging. And in all the moments where I sit there and I go, I don't have enough stamina to climb this wall. I need to climb this wall, though. And this was something that happened early, like before you leave the opening islands. Or there's like ice in the way, or there's just something blocking my progress. The game is excellent in providing you resources to where you can just build your way around it and just figure it out by yourself. There are so many times in this game where I'm looking at an obstacle, whether it's a cliff, whether it's a ravine, whether it's a gap, whether it's gloom, which is poisoning the land around me and I can't cross or whatever, and or if it's a puzzle solution and you have to get through a shrine in some way. The game is so great at giving you enough resources and letting you be creative in your use of those resources through the fuse ability and just sticking shit together to where there's so many times where I'm like, oh, this is clearly not what the game devs had in mind for me to do, but I did it anyway and it worked. And because it's very much, they would rather it be a, hey, if it works type experience than, hey, figure out this puzzle in the way we want you to figure it out type experience. And that in itself is freeing, truly freeing. Whereas I don't feel like I'm butting my head up against a wall. I feel like I'm in a do-it-yourself, like, home improvement project. Like I'm like, okay, well, I need a bridge to get up from this like little piece of land to that thing. All right, let me go around and like drag all this wood that's in the environment. Let me haul it all the way up here and do stuff. And arguably, probably took me just as much time, if not longer, than it would have been to just figure out what they wanted me to do in the first place. But
it's more fun.
It's more fun. It's more engaging. It's more entertaining. And it's more satisfying than being like, oh, I had to climb up the mountain this way. Yeah. All right, cool, sure. And
the way you're describing, like the how non-linear the puzzles and stuff like that, you can come up with your own solutions and all that.
They're so great.
I know. It reminds me of a meme I saw where it was someone edited getting the Light of Blessing thing, like whenever the Rauru and I can't remember her name, but the queen are like standing there in statues, and the text just says, "That wasn't the intended solution, but that was funny as fuck."
Yeah, and that happens literally all the time in this game. All the time this happens. There are many shrines, and this is the greatest, like, I feel like they didn't eliminate my issues with Breath of the Wild, but they minimized them to where, like, it is, there's that graph in How I Met Your Mother of, like, to be this hot, she is also this crazy or whatever, and you don't want to be above the line or whatever. Breath of the Wild is above the line, where to be this free, you have to be this annoying. And it's more annoying than it is freeing. And this game finds a better balance. And I don't know if it's on the line or below the line or where, but it's still like more annoying than I would like it to be. But there's enough to mitigate all of that and enough to get around all of that to where I'm still having a very fun and very engaging time. And because they are like, okay, you can glue anything in this world together, like at all. You can figure out whatever intended way. Hey, the kids' gloves are off. Some of these puzzles, they're hard. And you got to really sit down and be like, how the fuck do I do this? Okay, wait, what? Most of them are still kind of simple or whatever, and you can figure out your way through it. But every once in a while, you hit one where you go, I don't understand what they want me to do. So I'm just gonna do it my own way. And here you go. One thing that I also find very annoying that I actually think Breath of the Wild did better is the pacing of introducing new elements to you. In that it felt like in Breath of the Wild, I'm going to use the Korok seeds for a very specific example for this. It felt like in Breath of the Wild, it was a natural way to get, what's his name, Hestu, to find Hestu in that and to start building out your thing. I found Hestu last night for the first time. I had 48 Korok seeds by the time I found him. And I was, guys, for days. I was Googling where this motherfucker lives. I was like, okay, I know he's supposed to be here, but he's not fucking here. Other guides were saying, oh, if you miss him in his first location, don't worry, just complete 2 temples, and then he'll show up at home base. And I was like, all right, bet. Never happened. Never fucking happened. He's never at home base. And it's because, like, I just, the way the game is so free and stuff, I had completed a temple which negated his appearance at his first location. And then I couldn't find him there, and he wouldn't show up at that one because you need to unlock 2 temples or something like that. At least this is what the guides are telling me. So then I just happened upon the Kurok forest to get to talk to the Deku tree to figure out where the Master Sword is. I just happened across there, and then I solved that issue. And because you solved that issue, he doesn't show up at home base anymore. He now shows up at the Kurok Forest. So I'm reading all these guides that are saying he's here or he's here, and he wasn't in either of those places. He was over there, and I felt so frustrated at that. And it like literally 40 hours deep, and I'm still dealing with 3 swords, 4 bows, and a couple of swords. And for me to still feel like, oh man, this game's fucking nuts and crazy and dope, but like to still be so limited in that way, I think speaks a lot. Now that I can have as many fucking swords and shields as I want, like all of that problem's gone. But because it was there in the first place, I sit there and I go, well, like what were we doing? You know what I mean? It's things like that where it's like now it's just a little too free. I wish you would hold my hand just a little bit, just so I could get to these mechanics that I desperately want and I know exist in the game. The auto build mechanic, you could just totally miss that shit. Like, yeah, like very easily. You could totally miss that shit. I found
it before I initiated that quest.
That's nuts. That's crazy. Paraglider should not be a thing that I can be free in the open world without. And yet they do that to you. They let you loose before you have the paraglider, and that's a bad choice. That's bad design. Like, you need the paraglider. The abilities you get for completing temples are way better than the ones you got in the last game. Way more useful, way more engaging, way more fun. And the fact that it is also tied to characters, NPCs that are along the journey with you, allows me to feel actual engagement with the story. I don't feel like I'm just going, all right, this is this arc. All right, this is that arc, which is really the same arc because you could hit them in any order. But now it's like, oh yeah, this is where I got my bird friend, and now my bird friend's hanging out with me, and he's boosting me around everywhere, and this is awesome. And that's another engaging thing that makes exploring the world way more fun and way better than it ever was.
The only issue I have with that, and it's just it can be kind of frustrating when you have all 4 of them, and you need a specific ability.
This is one of my critiques as well. Yeah.
And you just accidentally activate the wrong one,
Lost
and then
in the madness.
All of a sudden something gets blown away, or a boulder just fucking flies across the room.
Yep, it's always the fire guy for me. I always activate him, and I don't mean to, and I'm like, guy, fucking get out of here.
God, you're such a cretin. His name's Yonobo.
And my thing is like, this can be solved with a button, like instead of me having to walk up to the individual ghost and to activate it, like this could just be a hold down on D-pad. And I understand hold down on D-pad is calling a horse. Hey, guess what? I've never fucking touched a horse in this game. I tried to in Breath of the Wild. The horse mechanic is the most useless mechanic ever. Like, because horses, like, you're fucking climbing mountains and gliding across things, and the horse doesn't fucking follow you. Like, it just stays in the map. And
sometimes you need to get around with a horse.
Sometimes the horse is important. I don't know if you did that much, like how much side content you did, but there are some side quests that require a horse to like take something somewhere or something like that. But most of the time you can solve it without. Most of the time you can solve it with just the Zonai devices.
That's my thing. Is like, I don't need a horse. I can build a car. So like, why do I feel like every time I want to use an ability? Because like, it's so many. Like, I've never used the fucking water ability in combat. I've never used that. But you know what would be really easy to use in combat, or would be really nice to beat? Let me take that back. You know what would be really nice if I could get to it easily and use it successfully every time? Is the lightning ability. But this motherfucking water guy is in the way every fucking time. Get out of the way, guy. Like, what are you doing?
Right on, dude.
And so it's just a thing of like, And we can just move the horse whistle to a fucking thumbstick. Like one
Yeah.
thumbstick's crouch. What does the other one do? Center the camera? I can do that myself. That's a waste of a thing, especially when holding the left trigger centers on an enemy anyway, and that's the only time you're ever going to need to center the camera. God, guys, I really cannot get past this combat is bad. It is really bad. It's so atrocious.
Hey, that's your opinion. That's your
It
opinion.
is some of the worst sword combat I've ever experienced in a video game ever. Never ever ever do I ever enjoy getting into a fight in this game. Even when there's big story elements where you're like, "Oh man, this is epic narratively or presentation wise," the actual mechanics of swinging the sword are not. I feel so clunky and limited, and none of it is exciting. I'll say, like, the dodge mechanic to get the perfect dodge or whatever, it's just not, like, the animations are not clear enough. The timing window is not clear enough. It just makes it to where, like, I feel like I'm doing it on accident more than on purpose. It also takes too long to go from perfect dodge into your flurry strikes. Why does it take so long? Do faster.
You know what I think the issue is, Tavin? I think you're more of a 2D Zelda guy.
I might be.
Definitely,
Yeah,
I think
that's the vibes I'm getting, because from what you're describing, I really don't think you would like Ocarina of Time. I really don't think that you would like
I
Majora's
remember.
Mask.
I mean, this was a long time ago, and I wasn't as objective then as I was now. But I remember not having a problem with Twilight Princess combat.
Because that is actually a very good combat system. That was going to be the exception I was going to throw in there. Wind Waker's fun as well. Just how you move around.
Yeah, but he hasn't played that one. I don't think. I suspect he probably wouldn't like it.
He might not. Majora's Mask and Ocarina of Time, probably not.
I'm like 90% sure that Tavin would not like N64 Zelda.
But again, like, I think it's like, I think the combat is bad. Like, I think the swing of the sword, the feel of combat, all of that, I don't like it. But it's then truncated with the weapon degradation, which makes it so much worse. Like, these two things, like, either of these separately, fine, cool, whatever. Them together makes it, like, I hate it. I really do hate it. Like,
do you like how things degrade twice as fast now?
Sure, but, that's fixed with the fuse mechanic. So it's like,
Exactly.
all right, cool, whatever, Like, and this is my thing, is you're not eliminating my issues, you're just mitigating them. Like, you're minimizing them. Like, they're still there. They're still annoying. I still hate that I can only use my Master Sword on 3 or 4 enemies, but it's called the Master Sword. But, all right, cool. But it does feel good when I'm doing this thing now where I'm saving Gloom Blades for fuse. Because you can't hold Gloom weapons without losing health. But if you just fuse it to an item, you still get that damage, but without the consequences of it. Yeah. So I'm like, I'll pick up the Gloom weapons, and then I'll just fuse them to the Master Sword as I go.
Yeah, you get, like, the effect of whatever you have in your hand.
Yeah. And it's I love the I really do love fuse. Like, I really think it's really awesome. I wish I could attach it to a bow. Like, and give, like, just bows something cool to do.
You can put them on you can put stuff on your arrows.
On the arrows, yeah, sure, but that's annoying.
That's kind of where they get with that.
It's annoying using 15 yellow jellies when I'm fighting enemies that are weak to electricity. Why can't I just put a yellow jelly?
Electric items.
Why can't I just put an electric jelly on my bow? And now arrow.
You're not hitting them with the bow. You're hitting them with the arrow.
Tavin, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Come on.
Speaking of eating, cooking mechanic. Cooking mechanic. I love the expansion. I love the addition of elixirs and stuff. That wasn't in the last game, right?
That was in the last game.
Oh, okay. Well, then I never played around with it enough to find those out. But it feels more expansive, is it not, or is it the exact same thing?
They added a lot more recipes.
There we go.
And there's other statuses that they add, like gloom wasn't a thing, so you can mitigate gloom with food now.
Yeah. Cool. It's a fine mechanic. It's just too slow. It takes up too much time. I'm sitting in front of this pot for too goddamn long. I understand making the recipes and discovering them is one thing. We're like, okay, let me try these ingredients and see what happens. Let me try these things and see what happens, and so on and so forth. Once I have the recipes, let me click the button, and then they're just in my hand. Or let me like click the button, and it goes, hey, you have enough to make 6 of these. Do you want to make? How many of them do you want to make? And I can choose how many I want to make, or something like that.
When I cook, I'm kind of there with you, but when I cook, I basically just always hit X to skip the cutscene every time. So
you do? You don't look at Link's face?
I mean, I do that. I do that too, but it still takes too long to click the button through.
No,
this is the item you got. Okay, now bring up the menu. Now select the items you want to hold. Now close the menu. Now drop it in the pot. Now skip the cutscene.
Holding items in Breath of the Wild used to be a lot more frustrating too. So,
listen. Do you guys cook in real life? Are you big cookers?
I can cook.
I'm learning.
Well, then you guys don't get the part of the experience, the process of
cooking. Okay, but Connor, you can still do that if you want. Just give me an option to like, hey, I know what makes a great fucking fish on a stick or whatever, and it gives me 10 hearts. Let me make fucking 7 of those immediately instead of making one at a time and it taking
it's also
5 times longer.
We're not talking about real life. We're talking about video games. Just because I like playing Power Wash Simulator doesn't mean I want to go power wash my house.
100%, exactly. Like, and that's like a thing where I was like, oh man, I really wish they would do this. And I did have the thought when I was playing last night. I've had many nights, guys, where I'm like, I'll play for 20 minutes. You know, I'll unwind after work, and then I get home at 12:30, and I'm like, I'll just unwind until 1, maybe 1:30, and then go to sleep. I blink
3 in the morning.
I blink and it's 5 in the morning. Multiple times. Woo! Multiple times this has happened to me. It almost happened last night. I hit 2:30 last night, and I was like, I need to stop right now.
Yeah, it sucks you in, man.
Because I have I need to be awake for the podcast and stuff. So it's a little more focused on its story than Breath of the Wild is, and I enjoy that. I wish it was a better mystery. I wish they were telling the mystery of what's going on with Zelda better. It's pretty simple, and I'm ahead of the characters, and I wish that I understand that because of the non-linearity of the game, you're gonna repeat some plot points sometimes,
Sure.
Just because you could start that plot at any point. I wish the game knew that I was on Temple 3 of 4.
Yes,
so that
that's another big.
It could give me new information in terms of the main plot, because the last 2 temples, I just skipped all the dialogue. I went, I don't care.
So you've done all 4?
Same thing. I've done all 4. And I've done, I did that initial, where that fake out mission where they're like, this is the end. And then they're like, no, it's not. And then they tell you that the Demon King is Ganondorf.
Yes, that's why you have so many gloom weapons.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, wow, really? The Demon King is Ganondorf? I had no idea. That's insane. That the bad guy of a Zelda game is Ganondorf.
Seems pretty intuitive.
But yeah, I enjoyed the design of the temples quite a bit. I thought they were fun and engaging, and each one, they're all repetitive, but they add just enough of environmental puzzling to where I go, all right, how do I get there? Well,
I cheesed the fuck out of the fire temple.
The fire temple I got lost in. That one frustrated me. I was like, I don't know where I'm going.
I did something that was not intended. I froze. I didn't freeze. I got one of the water things, and I floated a little rock because I put it on the lava. I floated a rock under a big locked area that you're supposed to get in from some other way. Yeah, I just ascended through it.
That 100%. I did something similar. Where it was clearly it's hey, take these rails up and around and so forth. And I was like, nah, let me spend twice as much time putting together all these rocks and just ascending my way up, and doing that. But it's just as valid. It took me longer, sure. It's not the proper way to do it, but the game doesn't punish me for it. The game goes, okay, you did it. Good job. Which I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But
you mentioned that to you it's not a 10 out of 10, but where does this sit on our 2-penny scale for you?
I think it's an 8. I think it's a great game.
Far more than a 9?
Huh?
Yeah,
no,
you can't
I was floating between a 9 until I got to the Lightning Temple, and that one's so combat focused that I was like, oh right, this. And I was like, nah, I can't do it. And then I fought the Demon King and his 6 fucking little demon Ganon things, and I was like,
gotcha.
This sucks, man. And I finessed that fight. I didn't have any problems with the fight. I did it in one go, but it was just this sucks. This bad. Like, it is not fun to do this. And that brings me to my neck. And then also, it's like all of my original critiques are still here. They're just smaller. So it's like, how much can I really do that? I also think the boss designs are pretty weak. Like I love Caldera. I've enjoyed some of them. I've hated I haven't hated any of them, but I have been like, meh, whatever.
I do not like the water temple boss. It's annoying.
I thought that one was okay. I thought it was super annoying. Okay.
It's annoying how you have to do a bunch of like bullshit to hit him.
Just hit him with the water.
No, I know. That's why I do that too.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant you were like cleaning up the floor. I was like, don't clean up the floor. The most like Super Mario Sunshine ass boss.
I know.
I liked the wind one, but I may have just liked it just because it was the first one I did, and the spectacle of like going up and then slowing down and shooting with the arrow.
What order did you go?
Wind, fire, water, lightning.
That's exactly what I did.
Okay, great. Yeah, and it's like, bro, if you do the wind one last, fuck, man.
Good luck.
God.
I mean, that's kind of why the game. I think that ability is so good that they do a good job of saying, hey, this is like, it makes sense that it's on the left because most people do things from left to right. So it's like that's kind of where it wants you to go first anyway. And I think it's also the first one that's listed. It's like Rito.
I mean, they're not listed in any order. It's just like, here are your 4 dots. Go to one of them.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
I think I just remember it being that one.
You could just as easily get anywhere else, but for some reason, because I was talking to Connor about it when he picked me up from the airport a few weeks ago, and he was like, "Yeah, no, I did the wind one first," and I was like, "That's weird." I also love I'm only just now unlocking the other Puripad things, so like the shrine locator. Just got it last night. I'm 70 shrines deep. Not having any issues finding shrines in this game. I was in Breath of the Wild. In this one, no issues at all. I'm just finding them left and right.
I don't know if I told you, but you haven't really talked about the depths so far. But
I'll get there.
Did you know that everywhere there's a shrine in the overworld, there's a light root underneath?
Yeah.
So mark those.
I feel like you told us that on one of the piggy banks. And
okay.
That
I
piece
did
of
tell you
knowledge
that.
stuck in my head. But it would not have taken me long to be like, all right, there's a light thing. Scroll up. Oh, there's a shrine right there. Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah, I probably would have gotten there eventually. It just took me longer because I heard somebody talk about it. It was like whatever. I think something auto played, and it was like, hey, just so this happens in Breath of the Wild that you can do this. It was some tip thing or something. I think it was like a short maybe.
Yeah. I think the depths are cool. Certainly better than the sky stuff. But it's frustrating at times, just being in the dark and not knowing where to go, and sort of fighting the environment a little bit more. It can get a little annoying sometimes. How many enemies are down there is annoying as shit, and like how you have to fight them sometimes.
Dangerous.
It is dangerous, which like I can appreciate a challenge, and I can appreciate, hey, this is a dangerous zone. Be prepared when you go down there. But it's just like other than like getting the Zonai stuff, I don't see the point. So like as soon as I discovered several of those processing plants where you can just buy a bunch of the Zonai things at once, I was like, all right, I'm not gonna hang out in
the gotcha machines.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hang out in not the pinball things, which because those are in the sky. I'm talking just the things that you get to expand your battery. Yeah, no, just the things the charges you buy to get your batteries.
No, I get you. I understand now.
Which I have. So the game starts you with 1. I have another full 1, and then I have 2/3 of the next one. Currently, that's where I'm at with that. I'm maxed out on stamina. I don't know, 12, 13 hearts or something like that. I'm not counting them individually. Like, fuck that. I've got things to do. I think the game is better at giving you equipment that you need to navigate environmental hazards, like if it's too cold or if it's too hot or something like that. I think it's better at equipping you for those things. Whereas in Breath of the Wild, for a long time, I didn't go anywhere hot because I could not find heat-resistant clothes anywhere. And
that's why you make a fireproof elixir with the lizards, the fireproof lizards.
Yeah, I also haven't been making that many elixirs. I don't know how. I do it wrong every time. Like I just keep getting
monster parts and and whatever effect you want.
Oh, okay. That must be what I'm doing wrong. Because I keep like adding, I don't know, like mushrooms or some shit. And I'm like, what happens if I add a mushroom? And I go, oh, it's dubious.
No, you don't need to do any kind of food. It's literally just whatever monster, whatever effect you want. So like, I don't know, hightail lizard for like whatever stamina, I think, and then a monster part, so like a bokoblin horn or like guts or something like that.
All right, that makes a little more sense then. Trying to think of what else I wanted to say about this. Overall, like, man, I think Tears of the Kingdom is actually like a great game. I get why people love it. Whereas like with Breath of the Wild, I didn't get it. Like, I was just like, this game is not anywhere close to a 10 out of 10. I can't believe people are saying it is. So
you're more on the end this time.
Yeah. I think if you give it a 10, I don't think you're looking at it objectively enough. I think you're just going off of how the game makes you feel and not how the mechanics are actually working together. But I can't deny that this is one of the most like just freeing games I've ever played. One of the most engaging games I've ever played. It's one of in some ways one of the most rewarding games I've ever played. There are just some direction things that I wish they would change. Like, I wish they would be better about pointing you in the direction to get the new abilities and so forth. Like, again, you should not be able to explore the open world without the paraglider. And the fact that they do that to you is pretty sick. Like, because I went a solid maybe hour or two in the open world. Like, I had done like 3 or 4 shrines, and I was like, I don't have my paraglider yet. And I'm fairly certain they're not... For a minute, I thought they were just I thought they got rid of it.
No.
Like, I was like, is it gone? Because I'm not picking up enough of the, like, fucking bird things to justify using those to get around. Like,
but how cool is that first tower that you to unlock the map? How cool is that?
I like those towers way more than Breath of the Wild towers. Just
always have a cool effect when you
fucking shoot you up in the air. It's so cool.
Shooting up in the air, but even like, because they're gonna put a puzzle on it where they're like, hey, figure out how to get into it, or figure out how to activate it, or figure out, or like just save a dude and he'll fix it for you or whatever. Right. That's way better than, hey, climb it. Like, I'm like, God, I gotta climb another one of these fucking things. This one's in the middle of a fucking water pit. Who cares? I paraglide to it and I climb it anyway.
There were still some like it was very much more like walk back, but like there was some puzzles, like not walk back. Walk back's the wrong term. That makes it sound like there's less in Tears of the Kingdom. I mean that there's a lot less in Breath of the Wild, but there are some of those puzzle elements for like some of the towers to like climb up them the correct way, or getting to them in order for them to like actually work or whatever.
Yeah, but there was nothing as ingenious as the one in Tears that's in the swamplands, so it's raining all the fucking time and it's covered in thorn bush, so you have to figure a way to burn away the thorn bush in the rain.
Super good.
Like, without the rain putting it out. That, I sat there for a cool minute. I was like, the fuck does it want me to do? Oh, wait, okay, if I take this and I take this and I put them here. Okay, got it. Genius. And it's fun stuff like that. I think I found, because there was one that went viral, a shrine that went viral that's all about riding rails and stuff. And it's like one where like you have to like come off of a pair of rails and then onto a third one. And I saw a lot of people were like, I've been on this for 30 minutes and eventually I just like janked my way around it. If it's the same one that I just did last night, I figured it out. And I was like kind of proud of myself for figuring it out. I was like, oh, that was pretty easy. But I feel like people are probably talking about a different shrine.
I'll talk. I think it's the so I made a little thing with like 3 tiers basically. There's one in the middle, like 1 fin at the bottom, and then 2 on the end.
Yeah, you made an M.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I did. Yeah,
yep, that's how you do it. That's the shrine
right across. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know why people can't figure that out. That was like I literally like I made like the bracket, which I made it at the beginning of the shrine, and I was like, all right, bracket, and then like maybe I'll walk on it, and that'll do it, and that doesn't do it. You fall very, very quickly. You fall off, and I'm like, okay, all right, so that's not it. So then I was like, I don't know, fuck it, let me try one in the middle, and the one in the middle fixed it. And I was like, all right,
made cool. An
M. I also just don't think it feels like, I don't think moving around as Link in the open world feels that great. Like, it's good, or like it's fine rather, but it's not like like I felt more in control when as playing as Jin Sakai or as Aloy or as or playing Elden Ring. Like I felt more in control of putting my character where I want them to be. Whereas in both of these games, I'm always like, I kind of just like fumble my way through it and I'm there, but like it's never like I'm never 100% exactly where I want to be.
Right.
Which is like when things start focusing on platforming more, I'm like, Jesus Christ, fuck me. What was my point? Well, hey, what was the boss fight in the fire temple? I've been thinking about this for like 24 hours.
It was the big crab goma, like the fucking, what was his name? I think it was like something goma, like
the name doesn't matter, like because I don't know the names for anything.
Because it was the big crab with the eye, and it had like spider legs that were made out of the rocks.
That's right. And then you had to shoot the thing. You had to shoot your homie up and around and knock him off. That one was okay.
Yeah.
It was okay. I've just felt coming out of every boss fight, I'm like, that was okay. I just liked the wind one most, but I think I liked it the most just because of the spectacle of it.
I like that one the most too.
The one in the lightning temple feels like straight up a Dark Souls fight, where I'm like, holy shit, this fucker will fuck me up. And he's got little goons with him. This is not fair.
No, it's hard.
I died at the end of that fight and had to start it all over. I was like, damn. Oh, God, I really don't want to do this. Did it faster the second time. Because I don't know why, but the connection of like, hey, when you hit them with lightning and they go all white, they're weak to regular attacks. Yeah. So I just kept hitting them with lightning attacks again and again, and I was like, I'm out of jellies. It's taken Homegirl forever to recharge. That was another thing.
Any element.
Is it any element?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because they specify fire and lightning.
Oh, you can use ice on them too, or water.
Okay, interesting. Didn't know that.
I like Gibdos.
What was I saying?
We haven't seen Gibdos since Majora's Mask, I think.
Who the fuck is that?
Gibdos?
Yeah.
That's the creature that you fought in the desert.
Oh,
that you had to use elements on. Those are called Gibdos.
Those are the mummy dudes, or they're called
Gibdos. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then the Gibdo Queen is the big moth.
Yeah. Liked that well enough. I did like that when you do eventually take the towers down, that the light then makes them vulnerable as well. I was like, that's a cute little design thing. Thank you for doing that. God damn it, I keep forgetting what else I want to say. But yeah, essentially, I'm gonna just wrap it up here. Tears of the Kingdom, definitely a great game, definitely worth playing. I'm near the end of the game, and I'm like debating of like, what do I want to keep doing story missions, or do I just want to drag this experience out longer? Like, because part of me kind of wants to drag it out longer. So this game works.
Connor, you still haven't finished it, have you?
Nope. Nah, I don't think Connor's fucking touched it in like a month.
This damn podcast, it just keeps sucking me dry.